The rise and fall of Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar, born in 100 BC in the bustling district of Subura in Rome, emerged as one of the most influential figures in Western history. His life was shaped by both his noble lineage and the volatile political landscape of late Republican Rome. While his family was of patrician status, they were not the wealthiest by Roman standards. Nonetheless, Caesar's ambitions and talents would propel him into the annals of history. From an early age, Caesar exhibited a remarkable aptitude for leadership and public affairs. As a young boy, around the age of 6, he began his formal education under the guidance of Marcus Antonius Nifo, a renowned Roman educator. Caesar's studies included not only the basics of reading and writing but also the sophisticated skills of Roman law and rhetoric. These lessons would later serve him well in his political career, allowing him to rise above the countless rivals who sought power in the treacherous waters of Roman politics. At the age of 16, tragedy struck Caesar's life. His father passed away, thrusting him into the role of head of the family. Despite his youth, Caesar took on the responsibility of caring for his mother, Aurelia, and his sister, Julia. This early test of leadership would become one of the many challenges he would face in his lifetime. In his teenage years, Caesar found himself caught in the intense political conflict that gripped Rome. The ruling dictator of Rome, Lucius Cornelius Sulla, had created an oppressive regime marked by widespread purges of his enemies. Caesar's family was not immune to his wrath. Both Caesar's maternal uncle, the popular general Gaius Marius, and his father-in-law, Cinna, were enemies of Sulla. To avoid the wrath of Sulla's regime, Caesar fled Rome and joined the military. It was in the military that Caesar began to make his mark. Serving under various commanders, he distinguished himself as a brave and capable officer. His time in the army was transformative, not only in terms of military experience but also in terms of personal growth. Caesar's courage, combined with his intelligence and political acumen, set the stage for his return to Rome as a hero. After Sulla's death, Caesar returned to Rome, now a seasoned veteran with considerable influence. He used his newfound military prestige to launch a successful political career, aligning himself with powerful figures like Pompey the Great, a renowned general, and Crassus, one of the wealthiest men in Rome. This triad, known as the First Triumvirate, would dominate Roman politics for years to come. By the age of 40, Caesar had already achieved one of the highest positions in the Roman Republic, consul. The consulship was a pivotal political office, akin to that of a modern-day president, and it signified Caesar's rise to the apex of Roman political life. However, his ambitions went far beyond the limited power of a consul. At the end of his consulship, Caesar was appointed governor of Gaul, a region that would become the stage for his greatest military achievements. As governor, Caesar had command over 4 legions of the Roman army, and it was under his leadership that the Romans successfully conquered the entirety of Gaul. His military campaigns were brilliant and ruthless, earning him the respect and admiration of his soldiers, who regarded him as one of the greatest military commanders of the era. Caesar's success in Gaul not only bolstered his fame but also deepened his rivalry with Pompey, who, over time, became envious of Caesar's growing influence. While Caesar was consolidating his power in Gaul, Rome was becoming increasingly divided. The Senate, dominated by the conservative faction, grew wary of Caesar's rising influence and the loyalty he commanded among the Roman legions. Tensions mounted between Caesar and Pompey, who once stood together as political allies. Their rivalry reached a boiling point, and in 49 BC, Caesar made a fateful decision that would forever change the course of history. Faced with demands from the Senate to disband his army and return to Rome as a private citizen, Caesar defied their orders. He famously crossed the Rubicon River with his army, uttering the phrase, "The die is cast," a declaration of his intent to march on Rome and seize power. The ensuing civil war between Caesar and Pompey was brutal. Caesar's forces eventually triumphed, and Pompey, fleeing to Egypt, was betrayed and murdered. His severed head was presented to Caesar, who, upon seeing it, is said to have remarked coldly, "I have lost a friend, but I have gained an enemy." By 46 BC, Caesar had become the undisputed master of Rome. The Senate, recognizing his power, declared him dictator perpetuo, or dictator for life. With this unprecedented title, Caesar wielded almost absolute power. He set about implementing a series of sweeping reforms aimed at stabilizing and strengthening the Roman state. He redistributed land to the poor, reformed the Senate by appointing his allies, and initiated construction projects that left a lasting imprint on the city of Rome. Among his most lasting contributions was the introduction of the Julian calendar, which corrected the flaws of the old lunar calendar and is the basis for the calendar we use today. However, not everyone in Rome was pleased with Caesar's newfound authority. His rule, though effective, alienated many powerful elites who feared that his dominance would signal the end of the Roman Republic. Among these conspirators were two of Caesar's closest allies, Cassius and Brutus, who believed that the Republic could only be preserved through Caesar's death. On the fateful Ides of March in 44 BC, Caesar was assassinated in the Senate by a group of more than 60 conspirators. He was stabbed 23 times, with the most famous blow delivered by Brutus, whom Caesar is said to have addressed with the famous words, "Et tu, Brute? And you, Brutus?" Caesar's assassination did not restore the Republic as the conspirators had hoped. Instead, it plunged Rome into a new period of civil war. His death marked the end of the Roman Republic and set the stage for the rise of the Roman Empire under his adopted heir, Octavian, later Augustus. Despite his assassination, Julius Caesar's legacy has endured for over 2 millennia. His name has become synonymous with power and ambition, and his role in transforming Rome from a republic into an empire remains a central chapter in the history of Western civilization. His life was a testament to the potency of ambition, intelligence, and political mastery, and his death marked the end of an era in Roman history, ushering in a new age of imperial rule that would shape the world for centuries to come.